guys, it's me Lord Crumps and welcome back to my channel. Today's video I have a speed build for you and it is of the many different versions of the Croft Manor. I tried taking all different versions from all the recent games from Legend up into the Shadow of the Tomb Raider and tried combining them all together. This is my result. If you've noticed already, there is quite an obsession with Lara Croft on my channel. I've already built Hatfield House, which was the mansion that was inspired by the original games and also the movies. So there's some weird affliction that I've got there. This version though, I have tried sticking more true to the floor plan, and throughout the video we will see stuff appearing below underneath me of little inspiration pictures that I post throughout. This video was actually streamed over on twitch.tv, same username as Lord Crumbs. I'm not going to be posting loads and loads of times, it's going to be a couple of times as and when I am free. So if you do see some little notifications at the top, then I do apologise for that. So this Great Hall, it's obviously the scaling, how about to massively reduce it, because if I want to compare the hallways and Great Hall from the Legend games to the Sims version, it would be about 8 tiles wide instead of the 2 that I used. This would just be too big. And I wanted the outside to look really general and cohesive without being like too obnoxious, because obviously when they designed the building they only designed the interior rather than the outside. So that being said, there is some floor plans that overlap and stuff like that, which then I had to change different directions and angles of where things are going, i.e. the bedroom. The closet is not next to the bedroom bump out, it's on the other side. So I've moved that around. Issues with columns and freezes and floor trims as well, that's just a standard EA thing, but I think I tried my best to make it work. In this build there is only 3 bedrooms. So you think that such a large mansion like this would have loads and loads of bedrooms, but actually there's more hallways than there are bedrooms. So there is quite a bit of space that you can merge and change them. But I wanted like a true floor plan, if I can say that. And yeah, so on the video you can see, it's going to come up shortly, the floor plan of what I was working towards, and I was just mapping it all out. And if you look on the Sims screen or where the Sims are, you can see that it's really higgledy-piggledy, so I had to try my best to make it more uniformed. Obviously there's limitations with the game, so I couldn't recreate it exactly, so I tried my best. I'm hoping that the music that I'm using behind me talking now isn't going to be copyrighted, so if it does get not monetized, I'm not monetized yet because I'm only at 690 subscribers, which is a perfect segue into the begging section. So if you would like to subscribe, then get me to about 1,000, get me to one step closer to my my target, then please do. But yeah, so if it does get monetized, if it does get demonetized or copyright claimed, then I will be swapping it out and changing it. So if this is the first time you're watching it and you're thinking, hang on a minute, have I not seen this before? It's because it might be a re-upload. Working on the pool area now, it's really difficult to actually get like the roofs how I want it, because they actually sort of like arch, whereas these ones have to go in like hill sections. So again, try my best. There's no way without the roofs overlapping inside, which winds me up. To get the look of the windows, I actually used the windows from Snowy Escape and I doubled them up using the Alt placement key and making them in line. They don't glitch too much, well they do, but not really as noticeable. And they just make a nice full length window for the medium wall height. With the use of the columns and the curtains, it really does make it look like they were one unit. The study does change ever so slightly. This is purely because of the fact of when I readjusted the floor plan a bit later on to make it more unified, it just didn't fit well. And with the stained glass in the Great Hall, you'd look through it and it'd be the wall of the study right there, which I didn't like the look of. So it comes out a little bit, but when you see it later, there's like another little courtyardy bit in front of it, which I think is one of my favourite areas. So it came out really nice, which I didn't expect. was quite shocked at the sofas and the armchairs that I'm using throughout because they are true to the original as well. They were like these comfy white sofa chair things, which like cream white, which was really nice. And then in the bedroom here, I'm using the split leveling to raise up the bedroom area because that circular room is actually on like steps up to the bed, and in the middle section it goes down into the seating area, but because this is a second story building I couldn't actually do the steps down. But I think it still looks okay, especially when you put windows in and you have the 360 view. So later on in the video when you see the fly through, you'll have a little look at that, and yeah, I really enjoy it. Working on this one on the Tomb Raider Legend game. I couldn't remember if it was on the way to the pool or the way to the gym, but there's a little fountain area, and then you see like the wraparound archways upstairs coming on the outside. So I thought, where else could this fit? And I did it in the middle, in the centre, in front of the pool area. I did have an issue later on at the end of this first stream of the roofs glitching out and the floor tiles glitching out. It's something to do with having multiple glass roofs. It's an issue that I've never really encountered before, but it was. And unfortunately I had to reset. So this is me splitting the build up in half and trying to rearrange it so that I can slot it all together and make it more of a cohesive look on the outside as well. And then I go through off camera and do a floor plan and do like basic wallpapers and flooring and stuff like that, as well as like the terrain painting as well. I did that off camera. Giving a roof a little bit of diversity, I put these little bump out bits which I think work really well in my personal opinion, but of course let me know if you disagree. And again, still moving stuff around, and this is where I'm extending things out, moving things back, and now copying and pasting it over so that it's got that Hatfield House signature facade on the front. And I feel like I blended it in quite well to match in with the other games. Again, you can see that I've moved the wardrobe around, the orientation of the wardrobe to be next to the bedroom part. And in more columns, I've never seen so many columns in a build before, but these Discover University ones worked really, really well. You will notice that shortly after this little section, when I've done the floor plan, the windows go from a brown tint to a white tint, and then I do some decals of white paint on the outside and changes some colours and freezes to white, which I think looks much, much better. You may notice it now, but the library side is actually technically not symmetrical with the other side. I did notice this later on when I come to doing the landscaping, which annoyed me, but it took me a couple of minutes to figure out, because at first I couldn't understand on stream and it was winding me up, stressing me out. So I rectified the issue and I sorted that out there. This is not in the original, but one of the movies she has an observatory with a massive telescope, and in that, above that, it's got like this glass dome in the ceiling, which I fell in love with that idea, and I've been obsessed with having one of those in my own house one day. So in the bedroom and the study area, they've got these glass domes, which I took the inspiration from the movies. Trying to work out what I'm going to do on the top level here. I was using those get together glass roof floor tiles, and because of us having the roof glitch out, stuff like that, I really couldn't get him to move into the right place that I wanted him. So I ended up opting for another glass roof when I loaded up the next day, and it actually worked really well. Extending things out, making it more symmetrical on the back and lining it all up, and well, again, when you see the fly through later, when you saw the fly through in the beginning of the video, I think it looks quite impressive. And yes, I will be tooting my own horn about it, but that's what you have to do, unfortunately. Going back to the Twitch stream, this was built on Twitch. As I say, I'm not going to be doing it every day or every Monday or every Thursday. You'd be checking Twitter if you follow me on there, and I'll be able to tell you, like, that's when I'm going to be like, hey guys, I'm going to be streaming tonight or stuff like that. as and when I'm free from work. Working on the study, so the study does change from the original layout that I had, but the essence is still there. And again, this is one of my favourite views of the outer windows inside the mansion. It's got like this 360 panoramic view of the outside, and it's double story height. It's got the second story wraparound, and I tell you what, if I was a kid living in this house, that's where I'd want to do my homework. I'd actually probably do my homework then as well. I didn't use these windows all over, I ended up swapping them out, and here's the change. So you can see I've added like a white fence, raised it up on an invisible foundation in a debug mode, and then finding some debug wall segments to go underneath just to wrap it round. Again, in the originals they only have like a small line brick fence, but I really wanted these metal fences, so I put them in. Going around adding some details that I missed in the pool area and the study, and I start working on the other rooms. Bathrooms and the 2 or 3 bedrooms upstairs I didn't show you because they're just a bog standard blue room, pink room. Bathrooms are all the same, got the same items, and yeah. And if you just saw that flash up, that is the newer games for gardens, how they decorated it, which I was in love with. They use these like circular topiary balls, and they linked them all around. So I put them all across and did that way, using some debug trees as well to match in from the surrounding in Windenburg. I chose Windenburg because 1, it's got a bigger sized lot, and 2, it's what I think where traditional style mansions would be. I actually want to make smaller houses for the town centre around by the chateau area to put the museum, and do smaller building styles like this with like the arches to try and like match it in. So if you want to see that, then please do let me know. Going around adding in different not trees, these aren't trees, these are hanging baskets. Going around adding in hanging baskets to not every single one, but every other one or every couple of ones, just to make it look a bit nice, and we span you around, sorry about that. Adding in some chimneys, and here we go, here's me putting in the different bushes. And I really looked at the picture and noticed that you can see that the hedges, which are sized down, are actually in one. So I bring them in, put some more circular balls, size them down, remove the floor tiles, paint underneath, and then put some flowers and like Italian spruce, tall cypress tree things in the middle. I'll swap these out later on to match in with the ones along the road on the side, just so it looks like it's tied in. Splitting these 2 gardens in half by having that sort of stuff. And this is when I noticed that these 2 sections of the front aren't actually symmetrical from the front, which was winding me up. So I was sorting it out and looking, seeing what's going on. Why is it stressing me out? Why is it confusing me? So in the end, I ended up just copying the rooms, pasting them over, and then going from floor by floor and changing the tunnels. The tedious part were the tunnels. Turrets, this tower things. I've got some stairs that go from every floor. You can get to every floor with that, going all the way up. The thing is, I didn't want to change the study too much. That's what I was a bit hesitant for, but luckily it worked well in its favour, and we still had that essence of the corner study with the view and the curtains and the double-storey windows. And this little bit below the study actually turned out to be like my little treasure room, which we'll go into shortly. Awkward spaces next to the study, I didn't know what to do with it, so I actually turned it into a art studio in the shadow of a Tomb Raider. The mother has in her wing of the house, she has like this little 2-storey studio with a ladder. So yeah, if you played the games, if you're familiar with the Croft Manors and stuff like that, please tell me which one of the versions is your favourite. Obviously I was thinking about doing the original Croft Manors, but if you actually looked at it, there's nothing in them, literally apart from a freezer. So in ode to that, in this version, when we go onto the kitchen, I actually put like a 2x2 with 2 fridges inside of there, and there's like a throwback to locking the butler into the freezer, because I'm sure every single person, every single one of us who's ever played the original games did that. Here I am just checking it, making sure that everything is symmetrical, and I'll pop a sundial in, again ode to a little nod towards the anniversary version, and checking it out, and as I say, checking angles, making sure it all looks pretty, working on a dining room. We don't actually see a dining room, and we were discussing what colours do we think we'd have in the house, and we thought more greens, browns, earthy colours, like natural colours. That's what this had, because it is a traditional style mansion. People forget that her father is actually a lord, so nobility, they do have a posh fancy house. It's not new money, they're not rich because Lara's made them rich. So yeah, here I am working on a little kitchen, getting a little freezer section. You've originally used these chest freezers, but I think they look better on the outside, and I wasn't too sure if Sims were smart enough to use fridges from another room, so I swap them with the base game ones where you can see like the produce inside the glass door. I think that's a little nod to them. Decorating little hallways, pictures, little surfaces like side tables with lamps, you see them a lot, and then getting the secret stairway into the family crypt. In Legend, I think it is, you can't actually see a door, it's actually part of a wall, and then the wall opens up and you go down there, and then that's when Lara discovers her father's. And then this version, you see the Shadow of Tomb Raider. They have the mother's crypt, which is actually through the stairs, and obviously I couldn't do that because underneath a stained glass window, that's just because it's a different layout, and it would have been a nightmare to figure out with trying to merge those two floor plans, so I stuck with original. However, in the kitchen I do add in, behind the toilet, I do add in a stairwell downstairs towards the wine cellar, which again is in Shadow of a Tomb Raider, and that's when you have to find some stuff, and you find her puzzle pieces and you go and find stuff. We'll go talk about that later on. Gym area, really difficult because along all the walls it's all like rock climbing walls and stuff like that, so I actually used the rock climbing activity, exercise, fitness thing to try and bump it out, and then on the second story I put like a catwalk, because in the Legend version you basically grapple when you move them up and down, so I wanted to signify that. Treasure room, just whacking out all the Jungle Adventures treasures, trying to get them here everywhere on display, make them look pretty, and unique chests and stuff like that, and different like animals that she may have caught, and a map as well. This map does feature several times because inside like the dad's secret room he's got maps and everything, so I do use that image there as well. This is where I use my own creative liberty by adding windows in, because when you're outside and looking up and to seeing some pure empty walls, it wasn't enjoyable for me, so I just added windows in, it didn't harm. And a little area before you go into dinner room, that's a little bar. And some rugs, different chairs, in a little study nook upstairs, like the podiums where like books were sat on and stuff like that, but I couldn't really do it. And then just having again, going around looking and seeing views and stuff like that, which then I suddenly thought of this genius idea, I'm going to add this in. Little fireplace, because how amazing would that be to sit there facing the other way with the view of the sorry, I'm getting way into this now, but yeah, working on a little mother's nook now, so I whack out all like artistry things. I did the woodworking table, little dividers, like empty paintings, stuff like that. Having issues with the freezers here, so I had to cut the room upstairs section in half, so I just whacked some boxes in the second half. In the attic, I don't actually furnish the attic. This is because I was aware that this building was already over 1 million simoleons at the moment, so I didn't want to build it too much. Working on a family crypt, there's nothing really too interesting on here. I get a 3x1 and do the platform raise it up by 4 to make it look like the little monuments, the little sections that people are laid to rest in and stuff like that. And then to merge that in with the Shadow of a Tomb Raider, I extend it out and I put a statue of a lady here to represent where someone close to Lara is built and hidden from the family for some reason. And that was get cut out now. So enjoy the fly through, and thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.